Hello friends, I'm Colonel Failure and this is Transport Fever, and unconventionally I haven't started you with anything nice to look at all. I've started you where we left off. I'm not really sure what I'm doing. Hey, well that's the tagline for the show sorted. When you were last here, we got working on the grand Cheerio final finale of this series. It was the last episode in the series. Here is the next last episode in the series. I wanted that to be... Okay, let's make that fatter. Fatted. Oh, what have I done there? Oh, I see. Okay. What? What were you saying? Yes, I was talking about last episodes. Oh, so yes, it was the last episode in the series. However, the last episode in the series ran into a snag whereby I got bogged down in trying to create a new airport. And as such, there's a chance that this is the last episode. I can't promise it. See, I've learned from my mistakes. Can't promise that this was the last episode either. But we're going to try and make it the last episode so that I can get on to the next series. So stay tuned. There we go. I've finished tram tracking that. Look at that. Look at that tunnel. So you're joining me in Mallen. A town of zero note or importance, and the reason that we're here is we're going to try and get some aircraft to pay attention to it. Now, this is not connected to anything at all. Largely, we're going to try and do this to see if Boston wants to play ball. Not referring to the band, referring to the town. Because at the moment, nobody wants to get a plane to or from Boston. When I say nobody, very few people, there you go, now you're thinking, want to get a train from, lots of people want to get a train, wants to get a plane from Boston in any direction. So we're going to see if, by effectively hubbing this out of the town burb here, we can drive a little more interest in that kind of transport. Just because we've got a city full of engaged brain, because we've got a map full of active transport networks, and we've got goods being transported, we've got passengers being transported, and we've got $1.25 billion in the bank. We may as well experiment and see what we can get out of this. Now, as I mentioned in the last episode, I've not had a successful plane route since the DC-3s were running a fair distance across the map. I've tried various different combinations to try and see, the people in Mallen are not going to know what. In fact, they already know what's going to hit them, what has hit them. MCA like it, commuter alpha. What was I talking about? Yes, so yeah, not since the DC-3 have I actually had a successful plane route, and that was at a time when the planes were much faster than their rail-bound amigos. But now, when you factor in the amount of time spent, getting your approach right, landing at an airport, and then dropping people off, trains not that much different. In terms of delivery speed, especially since all of the airports I've got aren't brilliantly placed for getting passengers there in a hurry to the airport. I mean by there. Right. Okay. MCA commuter. Bravo. And we're going to spare no expense at all on this. No expense will be spared, and you haven't upgraded this to be 3 terminals. I'm over it. That was one of the reasons I ended up deleting it last time around. It wouldn't allow me to have 3 terminals, and then I got brutal with the bulldozer, and now I've done it again, and I forgot that I wanted to have 3 terminals. It's such a complicated existence, friends. You're better off out of it. Right. Okay. Let's get this up, and then believe me, we are going to that one. We are going to route everywhere, and I am going to pile drive as many planes out of this airport as possible. Right, buy trams. What's good? Skoda or the Toronto? Skoda's a bit faster. I think we'll go with the Toronto, and I think, given that this is a code red situation, I'm going to go with a bright red Torontos. Right, well, let's go with 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. If that is 7, and not in fact 8. Set line. MCA Bravo. Right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Set line. Alpha. Why so many trams, I hear you ask? Well, quite simply, because I don't want a lack of internal transport to be the justification for this thing not working. There may be many reasons this doesn't work, but a lack of internal transport is not going to be one of them. Right, I've got 4 other airports. Now, do we go point to point? We haven't tried it. Okay, so we're gonna try a loopy loop, a circuit. Yeah, try a circuit. Now, which way do they come in and out of airports? If I recall correctly, they land in that side and then take off by flapping through. Let's go find an example where there's a plane on the way. Have you got a plane? No, you haven't. Where are all my aircraft? Did that sonic boom knock them out of the sky or something? I mean, that wouldn't be ideal. Are they all queuing at San Bernardino? I know it's hot stuff. Well, there's one now. He's off somewhere. Oh, hello. These chaps look like they're in the in an approach. They're going to land in that way and then take off straight through the middle of town, by the looks of it. So yes, so we'll try and play to that. Try and play to it by looking at it. So they're going to want to land in this side and take off that way. So we're going to run anti-clockwise. Not that it really matters if the planes are all, you know, misoriented. But one would imagine once they're airborne that, you know, they can maneuver quite nicely. Right, here we go. Where's Boston? Do you know what? That's what we're going to run here. We're going to run 2 routes, and they're going to run in circuit. I like it. Let's try it. And then if that doesn't work, we'll do point to point across the board. So this is whatever I want to call it. The sky loop. Loop. Oh yeah. That's obviously what we call it. Are we going to run Sky Loop 2 Electric Boogaloo? You know what? I think we are. Let's go. Logan, Pembroke, Bernie, High Point. Now, I suspect this second loop is going to be less popular because it does involve a fair amount more manoeuvring. Sky Loop 2 Electric Boogaloo. Oh, I can't fit it in. That's very annoying. Sky Loop 2. Right, okay, good. Alright, now, there are 5 airports, so that means we should have 5 planes, right? No, don't forget upgrading, it's just going to make you miserable. Buy aircrafts. What do we go with? Airbus? Do we go completely mad and use the... Yeah, let's use the fastest thing we've got. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5? 6. Take no chances. Right, frequency is not going to be the reason this thing doesn't work. Right, now that's what I call a fleet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I set them on Skyloop. No, they're on the Skyloop. So this one's wants to go on Skyloop too. Right, there we are. Now I've just invested $250 million in this operation. No pressure. yeah, let's up the tempo. Cue the Benny Hill theme tune, and which is called Yakety Sax. Yeah, for those who didn't know. He's just gone, look. All right, this one. Is there going to be any such thing as polite queuing happen here? That's all right, son. After you. Oh, wait. Don't worry about me. He's gone. There we are. It's like carrier operations right here. No one's letting that guy out. They all hate him. He cheated at cards last night. He's not going to get out of there for a while. Not that it really matters, although I am seeing passengers getting on trams here in McCallister. It's McAllen. All right, I've done that joke now. Oh, there you go. There's someone breaking a sound barrier. It's quite a lot of planes when you think about it. Let's change our view here. I mean, it'll get quite loud. Let's slow it down to pseudo-realistic. Oh, look at tracking shot. Tracking shot. They don't call me the camera master for nothing. They don't call me the camera master at all. Right, now, we saw where that took off. We've been trying to set this shot up for the entire series. What we want is for it to take off immediately. In fact, we've got a couple more tries at this coming up. We want it to take off right over our heads with no clipping. There we go. Too far back. Oh, it's close though. That was pretty good. Right, a little bit further forward. Let's get the camera perfectly aligned with the runway. Here we go. Let's see if this is the job. Brace yourselves. This could give us a haircut. And... oh, that was even more exciting. Get the cursor out of the way for the next one. Maybe it's because it knows we're here. I think this one might be too close. Look, this is amusing me. I've no idea if you're finding it as entertaining as I am, but as mentioned, I want this shot. It looks promising. Oh yes. Okay, that's total gold there. And like magic, we have one person waiting for the sky loop. You picked up as well, didn't you? So McAllen is a tiny, tiny, tiny little town. You know, there is nothing happening. We don't care about it in the slightest. The most exciting thing that happens in McAllen is that there's a steel mill with quite a lot of trains going on that isn't a million miles away. All right, let's put 4 people waiting for the sky loop. Don't tell me I've just figured it out. And basically, you take the crummiest little town you've got, stick a whacking great airport next to it, spend £250 million on planes, and it works. I find that hard to stomach. Alright, are you taking off? No passengers. Okay. We're going to do this again. It's going to kill the frame rate for a bit, but I want to give it a chance to see how we're performing. And that means we need to check our if there was a way to check passenger numbers at all airports immediately, we could do it on airlines. Skyloop 2, 4 passengers waiting. And the reason that's interesting is because any line you set, whether passenger or goods, it doesn't pick up straight away. It takes some time. Skyloop 3 waiting. Is it as simple as having them stop at more than one destination? Can't possibly be that simple. Nobody wants to... Planes don't work like trains. You always go point to point. And if you've got an extended trip that you're on, you not only go point to point, but you get off and you get on another plane. There will be a reason why this isn't working. Hold on, what's going on there? Runway's not there, Chief. You're going to want to go a bit further forward. In fact, it looked like... So you know how the planes will fly through mountains, but this looked like it didn't. It looked like it skimmed the top. I'm going to open that again in a minute. It's so good. This might be the screenshot. I thought I'd had the screenshot with the exciting approach, but I think this might be it. Where are we there? I think we are. Okay, here we go. He's coming in. I reckon that's a 757. Looks a little bit too angular to be an Airbus. There it is. Yeah. Okay. Maybe I'm being generous, or maybe it was just because it was a Concorde. Anyway, this looks like Concorde here. Or does it? No, it doesn't. It does. Just because it is. I have no idea. All right, I'm giving up. I'm over it. I'm looking at plain silhouettes and correctly identifying the markings and which one it is. That's evidently not something in which I should specialise. Now, coming through our view, you can hear it. Here it comes. Actually, that is a pretty good shot, isn't it? We'll take it. All right, okay. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to let the game roll. Look at this! I don't flipping believe it. Is I'm going to let the game roll forward, and then we'll catch up after. He went like coming in for a land. Oh, there's. I need to have a word with air traffic control. I think we'll let this run forward a little bit, then we'll come back and see the progress. Don't go anywhere. Well, that's injected some excitement into things, hasn't it? Well, as you can see for yourself, from High Point, certainly the Sky Loop is, well, I can't get enough of it. And I suspect it's because High Point is larger than Mallen. Were Mallen large enough, it would also, I suspect, start to kick out passengers. Other things to consider probably are the other aircraft lines that I'm running, who are now cannibalising the Sky Loop's profitability. So there's two possibilities here. There are two possibilities here. The first of which is that it is using a looped method that actually creates some demand. Don't get me wrong, the amount of demand is not terrific, but it's certainly plausible. If I were to zoom in a bit, we might get a couple of extra frames a second. It's due to having all of this picture-in-picture stuff running is chewing through my. If we just look at the ground, yeah, an extra 10 frames a second there. All right, well let's get it so we're not just looking at the ground. We go. Nope, there you go. Second you do anything, the frame rate drops. There you are. Look at some dirt. Have 10 frames a second. Just while I pull up some charts. All right. So where are we now? Aircraft running costs are now 70 million a year. Last year we made 6 million. So the number's going up. It's going to get higher now that more people are using it. But I suspect that Mallen will also start to generate a bit more passenger demand if the town actually starts growing. So what do we learn from this? I think the way to make a successful airline is to use it as a bridging system between two isolated networks. So if you imagine you have A, B, C and D as your towns, if there is good transport links using trains between A and B, and there are good transport links between C and D, then have an airline bridge the gap between A and C. I think that could work. Anyway, I'll experiment with that in the next series. This year I would expect my air income to be higher than it was last year, because the opportunity to actually, fill a plane is now quite a bit higher. Equally, I could close down all of the old air routes that I was doing, just have, what I'm going to do? I'm going to do that, and then we're going to do one more thing, and then we're going to say, and that's it, we're out of here. So let's you kill it. Yeah. This one, kill that as well. That one. And this one. You, I want to reassign to Skyloop 2. You, let's reassign you to no, wait for it, Skyloop 1. There you go. And then let's kill all of these routes. And then we'll just leave that running and see where it gets us. Do this carefully, otherwise there will be trouble. Right, good. Okay, they're all going to land at San Bernardino. Okay, fair enough. Right, now to wrap up the series, let's bid a fond farewell to this series that has served us so well. As an introduction to Transport Fever, I want to ride a couple of lines. This fella's just left. We'll start here. So we're on the West Coast Main Line, which is the money printer. This is making, the line overall is making around 85 million a year in profit, just this line. And as such, it is bankrolling the rest of my network. Almost entirely. No, pretty much entirely. I don't have very many profitable lines. If we, before jumping on board, we'll just bring up the profitable line chart. If I were playing purely to try and make as many bucks as possible, I could just leave this line running, kill off everything else, and go, ta-da! But I'm quite happy to have unprofitable lines if they bring something to the party in terms of a bit of fun. There you go. So now if we look at the unprofitable ones, neither Skyloop is making me money right now, but I would expect to see those numbers go up, and that will be good enough. Right, let's jump in the cab. There we go. So we're in San Bernardino, which has built up dramatically. Now we've been focusing on getting this industrialized, and based on the where's my cursor gone? It'll be here somewhere. And based on the factories we see over to the left there, I would say we've accomplished that. I could look at actual numbers. We'll pull up the charts for individual towns in a moment, and look at which have actually grown to a significant size. I'm not happy with this upcoming junction. I think I could have done that better, but didn't. Yeah, see, look at this. Industry. Drive through the tree. Perfect. Plenty of smog going on here. And into the tunnel, which is terrifyingly well lit. Heading out to Riverside. Now, I possibly should have upped the tempo on the game speed before doing this. Why are we only doing... There we go. Now he's getting his foot down. I reckon that was the tail end of the train getting through that point section that caused this bit of slowdown. Definitely should have upped the tempo, because 60 some odd kilometers an hour, it's gonna be a while before we get there. But hey, let's stop. Let's smell the roses. Let's enjoy what we've got. And here's another one on the main line. Spewing smoke like there's no tomorrow. And yes, this entire route is electrified, despite the fact that it's running diesels. C'est la vie. My expectation was that I would at some point be running electrics on this line, which is why I left the electrification in place. There we go. Green light. Signals working perfectly. So yeah, it's not the most scenic route. I'm trying to think if there's a good scenic section to this route. But honestly, I've not set it up with the scenicness of things particularly in mind. ho-hum. You know what? While we're in a tunnel, I'm going to hop out of there. I'm going to just up the tempo a notch. Just so that we're not here until the end of time. Right. Now, the top speed of this number is 160. When it comes to, you know, actual speedy services, the US side of things doesn't fare so well. This is too fast. I want something that was just a little bit faster than what we had before. But this is too fast to smell the flowers. Let's drop it back down again. And as you can see, it's pretty much filling up at every single stop. I mean, some of the passenger numbers waiting on this route are just terrifyingly huge. And I think that, given that I've gone for the kind of 3/4 size platforms at each station, I think next time around I'll probably go straight to huge on mainline services. And they're quite precariously stored, if you don't mind me saying. That particular pallet was levitating, and you don't want a levitating pallet. That's you know, that's pretty standard. Yeah, what was I talking about? I don't know. Mainline versus branch line. One of the things that I'd quite like to accomplish would be town growth to the extent that multiple stops, and this is something that I've done repeatedly in Train Fever, is having multiple stations within one town. And I think I've got a formula that might, let's say formula. I have a scheme that I think might be able to accomplish this, which we'll do in the next series. But I'm not talking about the next series now. Hey, look, here comes another one. There are a lot of trains on this route. Oh, and this is doing some kind of weird stroboscopic thing. Makes me think, I don't know if I'm going backwards or forwards. Oh, don't pay too much attention to the textures, it will do your head in. As it has mine. Landslip! Oh, who cares? Bigger landslip! We'll try and avoid those in future, I think. Where are we here? We're coming into Tampa. Tampa, one of the biggest success stories in the late phase of this series. It grew from nothing in no time flat. And that came as a result of having two sizable towns feeding it at the same time, because up to that point it hadn't been touched at all, and it was basically one long line of town build. The second we started regular transportation routes in and out, it grew like flipping billy-o. Again with the industry. It's some industry here. I don't believe we're actually delivering anything here either. Go over this nice fast bridge. For those of you who say use the red bridge, here's one. Okay, happy now? Red bridge. Now I quite like box girder bridges. I think they offer a certain je ne sais quoi to the overall operation of your network, but. You know, I'm okay with having the full steel bridges at the same time. Oh yeah, I always meant to connect Tampa up elsewhere. In fact, you know, as much as this is the end of the show, the end of the ride, the end of the series, I could quite happily keep tinkering with this for many hours, but the performance is now starting to degrade significantly. It's been below peak for some time, but it's now started to degrade quite a bit. So rather than persist and try and get everything set up perfectly, and it's just one of the byproducts of running on a large map. Look at Concord there, pull in a manoeuvre. That's kind of cool. Yeah, rather than persist and try and set up absolutely everything that I always intended to, I think I'll go for a do-over and run on a map that hopefully should be less prone to wobbles in performance as the size of cities starts to increase. Look at this one. All right, Waterbury, and this isn't one of the big hitters either. This is a secondary town. But the population here, again, it's all part of this. It's all come about as part of this train route. The amount of people we're ferrying around has allowed enormous growth across this network. Right through the heart of the city. Splendid. All right, I want to get as far as well. Should we go the entire distance? I think we should go the entire distance, don't you? No, we'll switch angle just for a moment. You know what? We don't need any of this. Let's turn it all off for now. Since we are merely joyriding. Yes, the electrification completely unnecessary, but you know I always expected to upgrade further, but we just never got to that point. Oh, hold on. Straight into Independence. Now, Independence is one of the bigger success stories for goods from the food goods line. Steady on there, pickup driver. Yeah, from the food goods line, Independence has incredibly high demand. And what you don't want is to be in a car going between Waterbury and Independence. Look at that traffic queue. If I were generous to those people, what I'd do is I'd upgrade that road. But I don't want people on roads. What I want people on is on a train. And I imagine part of the reason that that queue is building up so significantly is because they have to keep waiting for my trains to go past. Sucks to be you. That really is quite a lot of traffic. So yes, Independence grew very, very fast and is now one of my biggest goods consumers, which is awesome. We'll do a quick stop at the goods side of things before we wrap this up. There we go. And actually, when you view it at this angle, you really do get to appreciate the amount of kind of detailing that's gone into some of these buildings. You know, they've always looked pretty good, but you know, this red swoopy thing that you can see before us, just over on the left a little. I don't know what it is, but it looks great. There you go. That's my appreciation. You know, little benches with planters and all of that jazz. I like it. I approve of it. Happy to see more of it. There we go. What is it? Oh, it's an awning of some description. Righto. Leaves on the line. That's going to cause mayhem. Okay, now, if we are incredibly lucky, the aforementioned goods train will run in parallel to this one, because the track certainly does in a moment. But, you know, it either is or it isn't going to fall our way. It looks like there's one coming. Or is that just a... No, there definitely is. Double header on the other track over on the left. There it goes. Very nice. The reason for double heading that particular service is for acceleration purposes. It's got a few changes in elevation, and I want to keep the speed up as much as possible. It's a shame it's not going the same way as this one. It'd be nice to overtake it, but you know, we'll take what we take. Okay, now coming into Henderson. Henderson, another big deal. That's a capital B and a capital D as far as towns go. Henderson expanded out of Warren fairly early on, and that is quite the building there. Whereas Independence had a good scattering of skyscrapers, nothing compares to that one. The other thing is that Henderson is the biggest town on the map. I know. Who'd have thunk it? And I'm pretty certain that's because it's the meeting point of two separate lines. It basically connects all of the biggest cities on the map. It's a very well laid bridge there. Oh, look at the timing of this. There we go. Now that is a central line service. I'm pretty certain that's a central line service. And that one is electrified. Apparently we plan the future. Yes, we do. There's another, I say, the timing of our arrival here. I'd hoped for something like this, and it delivered, although the track laying there leaves a little to be desired. Okay, onwards. Onwards to our next thrilling point of interest. Yeah, I know, I'm kind of itching to get out of the cab and have a look at the scene there, but we're not going to. We're going to press on. And I mean, the other thing is that expansion is constant at the moment. You know, every town that is receiving anything at all is growing handsomely. Right, okay, we're going to go past the docks. Anything going on at the docks? There is a ship waiting. Maybe even two ships waiting. Right, this is a fine way to wrap things up. Is actually, you know, being able to go, look, I used ships too. Admittedly, only for a little while, and then we got a bit bored of that. But in the next series, I promise you, ships are going to play a focal role, because we're going to have a lot of water on the map. I don't think we're going to be able to see them out the window because we can't move our head. So maybe just a little. Anyway, there you go, going past the port. Splendid. And we can see a truck. Right, that is a tick in the box for everything other than trams on this route so far. We may see trams. I don't know. Oh, we've not had a tunnel for a little while. Let's enjoy it. Another landslip. Incredibly hazardous. Yes, okay, it may take a little longer, but clearly the way to do this is to run it at slow speed. Going through another hypnotronic tunnel. Hypnotronic, it's a new word, but I think you'll find it works quite nicely. So we're in Salem now. We're almost at the end of the line, actually. Excellent. So Salem was, I believe, the fourth town to have a station in this playthrough. There you go. That's just trivia. That's just something that, you know, I've pulled out of the databanks. Oh, we haven't even electrified this bit. This is the point where we clearly went, no, electrification's never going to happen here. That's something that nobody's ever going to get behind. We're out in ye oldie-ish, kinda, because next we're off to Flint, and then that's the end of the line. So we'll ride this to the end of the line, and then we'll ride a line out of Boston, or should we ride a line into Boston? No. We'll ride out of Boston. I've got a scheme there that might work. Maybe. Now, there were comments made about, like, come on, this is an American series, please use American level crossings. I have. There are a couple of American level crossings out there somewhere. You know, they're incredibly unsafe, frankly. You should move to having a barrier, as much as you could drive through the barrier without, you know, giving it any consideration at all. You're far better off having barriers than just oh, there's a train track here, just so you know. So they're automated and everything. It's like, you know, it's like the future. Oh no, we've got no more shipping opportunity. We may see more ships yet. Hello there. Yeah. Over on the left. No, we're not going to get payoff here. Flint is too far down from the big stone port. But Flint's grown nicely as well. I remember when it was just a dirt track, and the young folk would bring their excitable motorcycles and pull wheelies in the centre of town. Maybe they still do. Well, that factory there with its chimney is clearly overcompensating for something. And here we go. And I think this is the only single-track station on the single-track passenger station in the whole network. And yes, it has been remarked that this, as a stone bridge, has a lower speed limit, but that's fine. We're coming to the end of the line. There we go. Look at this. And this feels properly urbanized, and yet still more construction is happening. Fantastic. Good time for an autosave there. Beautiful. And maybe a little close to the buffers. I wouldn't have got that close myself. Good. Right, there we go. So yeah, that's nice. Has it upgraded the dirt track that was running up the middle of town, I wonder? Yeah, it looks like it might have done. There we go. So that's Flint. Right. Let's go over the hill here. You said over the hill. I'm not over the hill. And we'll head into here. Which line are you serving, Metro Liner? Central Line. I don't want to ride the Central Line. I want to... Or do I? Where does the Central Line go? Boston, Warren, Indianapolis. No, I want to ride the Boss Pen, please. Which should be along momentarily. In fact, if I push this button, it will be. So there we go. What are you doing displaying profit data for things? I've told you not to do that. There we are. Don't. Right, so we're going to do one last ride along, and then we'll have a look and see how the aircraft are doing, and then we'll declare victory, and I'll be out of here. But I figured, we might as well. No, you're going to Phoenix, Boston Phoenix. See, I spot these things. This is what we want. There we are. Right. Okay. Let's slow it down. And then get on board. It would be nice if we were facing the other way. There's a lot of people in matching tracksuits there. And they're hanging out in kind of schools of tracksuit wearing people. Oh, she's there, look. Okay. Schools of tracksuit wearing ladies. And we're off. Waypoints there. Yeah, so this is a far more involved area of the network, but even then, it never got up to the point that it should do. If I'd got all lines set up that I'd intended to originally, then this would be just non-stop with trains. And I think one of the things that I'm prone to doing is moving on to the next project, because it feels like the current one is it's all happening. Yeah, it feels like the current one's got a bit stale. But no, I should just pursue a project all the way through to the end, even if it does take multiple episodes to do so. There's another Boss Pen coming the other way. Now these are running the Amrail fleet carriages, because there is nothing else that will hit the same top speed. So if there were a more modern coach available, I'd be using it, but there isn't, so I'm not. There's Metro Liner. Central Line. Good. Truck. Probably delivering food. But let's face it, in this part of the map, I don't deliver anything else. It says Warren. Plenty of activity in Warren. Even then, would have liked to do more with it. It's a big enough station, and I think that's going to be my goal for the next series. Is is get some properly big 8 trackers, 10 trackers on the go, so that it really is, train spotters paradise there. Because, as much as I may not know massive amounts about trains, I do quite like watching them go past. That's just a thing. I'm sure there's some logic behind it somewhere. These Boss Pems are all looking a bit tatty. Not the cleanest. And look over there on your right, there's a temporary depot, if ever I saw one. Yes, right, put that on the to-do list as well. Build out a proper depot area, so that we don't end up waiting. That's the Indianapolis Food Bulk. Well, I mean, you say bulk, it's not hauling that much. But I don't know. Oh, I came up with a theory as to why that is as well. Yeah, do you want to hear it? Okay then. The theory as to why some towns pick up better than others is servicing wide areas of demand. So if a town has 2 commercial areas and you use your truck stops to hit both of them, or you set up routes, for those of you who use bus stops to drop off food, you heretics, make sure you're hitting as wide an area as possible with your drops, and it drives more delivery demand, even if the actual demand for the whole town isn't that high. So the trick is coverage. Coverage drives extra supply, even if the demand isn't that high. And that is why hooking up a passenger rail service with an interlocked kind of commuter route is why it makes such a big difference. This one looks a little cleaner. Is this a slightly more like that one's almost brand spanking new. Stupendous. Onwards, friends, to Henderson. I thought this went to Pembroke first. I thought this went to Pembroke Pines first, and then went to Henderson. Okay. This is not a route. Oh no! It does, because this is but it has to go to Pembroke. Definitely has. Central Line may go there as well, but I have not paid attention to this route for a while, obviously. So one of the things I am fond of out of this map that I've put together is the kind of the split route setup. The West Coast Main Line is phenomenally successful, surprisingly phenomenally successful, largely due to the success of Henderson, and it's because Henderson is a meeting point for the original towns out in Boston and Warren to kind of merge onto that route. I think it works. I don't even think it works. It definitely works. It works terrifically well. But having isolated routes rather than trying to do a mega route, massive loop kind of an approach, I'm okay with massive loops. They're fine. They work well enough. But I think overall, I'm slightly more fond of this standalone lines approach to things. Oh, there we go. Speaking of the West Coast, there's one now. To be fair, the odds of us not seeing one as we approach Henderson, given how busy it is, was pretty slim. There's not many people waiting. That's unusual. Maybe the road connection's pretty good, or maybe the Central Line does hit these two as well. Although we'd see a Metro liner if that was the case. And we haven't seen one since we were on the main drag back to between Boston and Warren. Colour me intrigued. Now, given that we just saw the partner, or one of the partner trains on this route coming the opposite direction, maybe this is a reverser into Pembroke. I think it is. And then the Central line is also. Is it? I guess so. Must be. Anyway, this will be our last stop. All change at Pembroke Pines. If you would be so kind, all change. I'm gonna, yeah. So there you go. That's the series, friends. That's us. That's what we've accomplished. Look at that city on the horizon. Let's do a review of the game. Why not? I really like it. The level of complexity with cargo is going to take a while before it feels like complete second nature to set it up and get it going. It's like with Train Fever. Well, you know, after a very short amount of time, you worked out that just pile driving carriages in between two towns early on was a money printer, and that's fine. But I like the challenge, particularly of the more involved goods networks. I like that challenge is going to be around for some time. Yeah, maybe it's because the mechanics of goods change are a little wonky, but even so, they can be made to work. I'm a long way from having identified how to get airports and air traffic running brilliantly, and you know what? That suits me just fine. Again, I'm quite happy to spend some time figuring that out over multiple playthroughs. I think the folks in the modding community are going to have plenty of demand for their works. I know I'd quite like a few more bits of variety for trains and carriages and other odds and ends. So I look forward to expanding my game with modded stuff. But overall, I like it. I think it's a fine follow-on to Train Fever. Train Fever ended up being effectively a model train set. You know, build it how you want, get it running. You don't need to worry about the money too much. And I always play with the economy switched on, no matter what I'm trying to build, because I would always rather have the threat of running out of cash sat there to keep me honest, so that, you know, bulldozing 20 million quid investments is not something you do without pausing for thought before doing so. Okay, that's another train I hear there. That will be a Central line. Maybe I didn't. Maybe I imagined it. Anyway, let's get off this joker, because he's just going to go back the other way. Although it would be quite nice to drive into Boston on something. Ride into Boston, maybe. So let's go do that. Then, no, let's do that last. Let's have a quick look at the airport situation. Let's go up to a person. Yes. I'm not thrilled about. I'm not overly confident there. Nothing waiting at Boston. Maybe it was a momentary flourish. And actually, the game looks terrific when you turn all of the UI off. Macallan 1 waiting. 7. All right, doesn't work. High Point is the only place it works, and I guess that's because it's the only town that is not properly connected up, that is of a decent size. I don't suspect that Macallan has grown by much. It's grown a little. In fact, it is growing quite radically. It's quite quickly, and they all want to be near the airport, because noise pollution is something that people crave for when they're searching for somewhere new to live. Let's do a quick look at the town list. Here we go, let's bring that front and centre. So top of the hill, Henderson with 4,100, followed by Boston, Independence, Pembroke Pines. Places you have heard of a lot. Berkeley's doing all right. Oh, we should stop by Berkeley just briefly, because one of the things I did that I haven't covered, and I'm not going to, is I set up a train station. Yeah, it's the East Coast Main Line. Yeah, this was another point of development. I did this while you weren't watching. Sorry. It's a grubby thing. Yeah, so this runs up the track here to the next place, which I think is Phoenix. Yeah, there we go. So that was the next area of development. So we've gone Berkeley, Phoenix, Jacksonville, and then a very ill-conceived crossing service for the speed dance that heads out to Boston, which would be the thing we should ride on in order to finish off with. Yeah, you've thought that through. Right, let's have a swift look at air revenues. 10 million, 8.5, pushing 2 this year. I have not figured out how to do aircraft at all. We'll stop. Yeah, we've got a while before our train arrives. Just do a quick stop off at Jacksonville. Jacksonville growing quite nicely. But get your station in the middle of town, right? And either do that by bulldozing through and putting your station in there, or by getting your station in early. That's the way to get your towns really humming. Right. We'll just wait for the speed dance to arrive, and then we'll ride on that, since it is the height of technology. Although what I will say is that I do have... So the speed dance comes in here, and then backs back out again. And the traffic management here is working really quite well. You get a bit of a queue happen, which, you know, that's always going to happen when you've got a backing service that goes onto the main line. If I'd have thought that through, what I should have done, obviously, would be to put a single extra platform, and then nothing would get in its way. Where are you? Come on. I've got a train to catch. Where is it? It's definitely not stuck. Nothing gets stuck in this network because I'm too darned proficient. Here we go. Ride it, cowboy. There we go. Held at a signal. Yeah, so that's the East Coast main line ahead of us there. And once that gets out of the way, we'll execute a turnaround. So for those of you who watched the signal tutorial, this is what I mean by an implied signal. We will run into this in just a sec. Here we go. That bus is green. It's what you call a green bus. This dude in the red t-shirt on the right here, he has the bendiest neck of all of the people with their bendy necks. I would be fascinated to know what it is they're looking at. Okay, so there we go. So you can see we've got an East Coast that's waiting for us to depart the scene, which we shall do. And then, given that this is the fastest thing we've got, he's going to put his foot down when the tail of this train has cleared that junction, which it has. Don't spare the horses. Floor it. Go on. Give me the beans. Now, I'm only running one train on this particular route. So this links up Phoenix with Boston. And it is always full. Were I to put another train on there, I could probably fill that as well. But you know, it just felt excessive. Although excessive is what I should be aspiring to, really. Where are we now? 140. We don't have an awful lot of track left. It'll be interesting to see just what speed we get up to. Now, nothing's going to get in its way. This always gets priority over the crossing track, which is good. So are we going to crack 200 here? So that is Boston we're looking at there, which is our destination. We're going to do a majestic swoop in from the right to the left. And there's Concord taking off. I show you all the best sights I have to offer trains everywhere. See, look, no slowdown. Crossed that without drama. Going in the opposite direction, it always slows to 25. I don't know why. But there you go, folks. That's it. That's the end of the show. I do hope you've enjoyed the series, and that you're itching for more, because more is definitely coming. In the next series, we're going to be covering Europe. North Atlantic 2 is coming your way, and it will have both European and American services and an awful lot of water, and I have an idea that will make planes work, and it probably won't. So the usual levels of mayhem are almost certainly going to be present in that series. Thank you ever so much for watching. I've been Colonel Failure. Throw a like at this one if you enjoyed the series. Let's see if we can't get a ridiculous number of likes on this video. Yeah, all right. So I'm not going to lie to you. You know, obviously I get a benefit from, you know, YouTube search if you like the video. That's why I ask you to do it. Yeah, and subscribe if you haven't done so already, because that way you won't miss the start of the next series, which will be following along as soon as I've figured out why my custom map that I've been making is all lumpy. I really don't know why that is. Here we go, look, see, look, why are we slowing down? We have to hold at 20 kilometers going across that track. Anyway, thank you again for watching. I've been Colonel Failure. I'll catch up with you very soon. Cheerio. Through our view, you can hear it. Here it comes. Actually, that is a pretty good shot, isn't it?